Medea, Queen of Colchis. Medea, the most cruel example of ancient wickedness, was the daughter of Perseus' son Aeetes, the famous king of Colchis, and Hypsea his wife. She was quite beautiful, and by far the best trained woman in evil doing. No matter by what teacher she was taught, the properties of herbs were so familiar to her that no one ever knew them better. By intoning enchantments, she knew perfectly how to disturb the sky, gather the winds from their dens, cause tempests, hold back rivers, brew poisons, make artificial fires for all kinds of conflagrations, and other things of this sort. Far worse, her soul was not in discord with her arts, for, if those failed, she thought it very easy to use steel. Captivated by his excellence, she ardently loved Jason of Thessaly, who at that time was a youth of marvelous prowess. His uncle Pelias, who was jealous of his virtue, had sent him to Colchis under the pretext of a glorious expedition to acquire the Golden Fleece. Medea, in order to merit his love, acted so that discord broke out among the people of the country. War was made against her father, and Jason had time to fulfill his desire. What sensible man can imagine that the destruction of a wealthy king could occur in the twinkling of an eye? Having committed that crime and having gained the embraces of her beloved youth, she secretly fled with him, taking along all her father's wealth. Not content with this great offense, her cruel soul turned to worse. Thinking that Aeetes would follow them when they fled, she took along her brother Absyrtus, or Agelaeus, who was a small child. To make her father delay on the road, she had her brother dismembered and scattered the parts of his body in the fields of the islands of Tomi and the river Phasis, through which he had to pass in following her, so that her wretched father would linger to gather together the body of his son, bury him, and cry over him, thus giving the fugitives more time. She was not deceived in her expectation, for so it happened. Not to stop here, I will say that we must not give too much freedom to our eyes, because as we look, we perceive beauty, become envious, and are attracted to concubines. By means of the eye's audacity is aroused, beauty is praised, squalor and poverty are unworthily condemned, and since they are not learned judges, the eyes believe only in the outward appearance of things. Often they place the shameful ahead of the sacred, the false ahead of the true, and impropriety ahead of blessing. And by praising things which should be condemned, and which seem sweet for a short time, they sometimes stain the soul shamefully. These ignorant eyes are captivated, attracted, seized and held by beauty, even if dishonorable, by lascivious motions, by youthful wantonness, and by corroding vices. And since the eyes are the gates of the spirit, through them lust sends messages to the mind. Through them love sighs and lights blind fires. Through them the heart sends sighs and shows its shameful affections. If one knew them well, he would either keep them closed, or turn them heavenward, or fix them upon the ground. No other ways but these are safe. And if one must use them, they should be restrained lest they become wanton. Nature gave them lids, not only so that they may be closed while sleeping, but also that they might resist evil. Certainly, if powerful Medea had closed her eyes, or turned them elsewhere when she fixed them longingly on Jason, her father's power would have been preserved longer, as would her brother's life, and the honor of her virginity would have remained unblemished. All these things were lost because of the shamelessness of her eyes.